Have you ever heard traders mention MS&R and you wonder what exactly does that mean? Most times people just throw it around without explaining clearly. In this video, I'll break down MS&R step by step in the simplest way possible and show you exactly how to apply it in your trading. Welcome to Merge FX Trading Hub, the place where I simplify forex strategies and help you grow your trading skills with confidence. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of my weekly breakdowns. We're already 91 strong on this channel. Thank you guys so much. Let's push together to hit 100 plus subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It will mean a lot and help me keep creating more content for you. Let's dive right into the video, guys. So the first thing you need to understand or ask yourself is where is price coming from and is likely to go if you are to use MX and R in trading. Okay, now we are not predicting but reacting to price action. Okay, now how do you identify key levels? Right here you would see I wrote M resistance, M support, A shape and V shape, right? And I'm going to show you guys exactly where to spot this on your charts to enable you to take trades right from there. So guys, do well to stick to the end of this video for you to properly understand these few concepts I'm about to review to you guys. Now, trading MS&R actually changed my perspective towards the market, okay, which is what I'm going to be sharing with you guys in this video. Now, first of all, what you need to understand, basically we understand support and resistance as a zone. And if you watch so many videos on YouTube, they talk about support as an area where price have reacted to the upside, while resistance an area where price have reacted, multiple times to the downside, which means you'll be expecting price to get back to that area and then you take yourselves. Now, for MS&R, guys, you don't need to really put in consideration all of that. Okay, now for MS&R, there are stuffs you need to see, there are things you need to see, such as where there is an engulfing formation like this, guys. Where there is an engulfing formation like this or like this. All right, now let's start up with what a resistance look like or resistance level look like using MS&R. Now you need to see a formation like this where you see a red candle and a green candle next to it, like a bearish engulfing candle. Okay, now at the top of it you need to see that both the bearish and the bullish candle are of the same level, with a line, just by a line. Okay, just by a line. Now what does this signify? This signifies that that point is a resistance point, is a resistance level. Okay, now we are looking at this based on price points and not a zone. If you wish to trade using MS&R, you should be looking at a resistance as a price point and not a zone. Now we'll be combining the candlestick chart and the line charts in this particular strategy. Okay, now looking at this point where you can obviously see the A shape, where I signify the A shape, once you drop to your line chart, guys, what you are obviously going to see is something like this. Okay, you're obviously going to see this shape right at a resistance level, because we would be dealing with refining of age as well, since we'll be navigating from one time frame to the other. Now for you to identify this, you have to see this A shape form on a higher time frame, or anywhere you see this A shape formed, it is a resistance. Now for MS resistance, you find an engulfing word, find an engulfing candlestick like this, a bearish engulfing candlestick, just as you can see on your screen. And when you switch, or once you switch to your line chart, you would find this as an E-shaped formation, as an E-shaped formation. Now let's move to the next thing you need to understand. The next thing you need to understand is how the support looks like. Now this is how the support looks like. You need to see what? You need to see something like this. Okay, you need to see something like this, guys. You need to see that both candles are at the same level. They are at the same level. At that point is your area of support. That point is your area of support. And switching to your line chart, you would obviously find what? You would obviously find a V-shaped formation. Okay, a V-shape formation, guys. Now you need to put this in mind. Now, the only thing, forget about the names, forget about the what we call it, whether Malaysian resistance or Malaysian support. The only thing you need to understand is the idea behind these concepts. Okay, and each and every one of us know that support when broken becomes what? Becomes resistance, and resistance when broken becomes support. You need to understand this pattern for MS and R. Okay, now if you look at this closely, right from here, guys, right from here, we have A shape formation right here. Okay, we have A shape formation right here, which means this point here is a resistance level. I'm going to show you guys clear example, okay, on the chart, and how this plays out often and often. Okay, now once you find this A shape formation, it means at the top is a resistance level, meaning that if price eventually breaks above that area. Now this is on a line chart. Okay, I'm showing you this pattern so that you have it at the back of your mind while trading. If price breaks the resistance at this point, that particular area becomes support. Eventually price is just going to come back to that area and then push to the upside. This is a pattern you need to have at the back of your mind. Okay, and I'll be making other videos regarding MSNR and other patterns you need to understand. Okay, and for that of support, we know that support becomes resistance when broken. Now, if you look at this clearly, we have what? We have a V-shaped formation. We have a V-shaped formation. As soon as it is broken, that area becomes what? Resistance. Now, remember I said that we are looking at resistance or support as a price level and not a zone. Okay, we are looking at these two basic concepts as a price level and not a zone. Now we're going to dive into examples of the A shape and the V shape formation, guys. So guys, in my next video, I'm going to still explain some things to you guys and the strategy I basically use while trading MX and R. Now, let's first of all understand how to identify these support levels and this resistance level. This is GBP on the daily time frame, right? Now, obviously, we can see right about these points that we can find two candles right here. Can obviously find these two candles, sitting at the same price level. Now let's mark that area and see what it looks like. Okay, let's mark that area. Okay, now you can obviously see that I just marked that on a daily time frame, which means that is a daily time frame support level, guys. That's a daily time frame support level. And I told you guys that we'll be switching to what? We'll be switching to line charts, right? Now let's switch to line chart and see. Now on our line charts right here, we can obviously see that this is a V shape formation. Okay, this is a V shape formation, and since it's a V shape formation, it is what? It is a support area. Below it is a support area. Now let's check and see what happened. Okay, from here, if you watch, obviously, let's switch to the right. Okay, towards the right, you can see that that area also served as support. It also served as a support area right here. You can see that price came all the way around this point before it rallied back up. Right, that is um one example. Now let's keep checking out for examples. Now let's look at this area right here. Right here, let's mark this area. Now, marking this area, we've got what? We've got a resistance right there. Now, let's switch to the line chart. Switching to the line chart, you can obviously see that we have what right here? We have a resistance level. You can, make sure you adjust it to be at the top or at the tip, right? Now you can obviously see, remember when I told you guys that resistance becomes support, I showed you guys that once you find um a formation, this is a formation, right? And you can see that price broke through the A formation, we tested on it before, it's rallied to the upside, right? You can obviously see this right here. A formation, price broke through the resistance, and we said resistance will become support, and price tapped back at it before pushing to the upside, right? Now let's check and see what happened right here. Let's go back to the candlestick chart. Now, if you go back to the candlestick chart, you can see that we had multiple rejections right at this point because it is a resistant level. But after a few days, after the first, second, the third day, we got a breakout out of where out of the resistance, which means we're expecting price to get back to the resistance so that the resistance can serve as support. Remember this shape. I said once we have a shape, price tends to break, retest, and then rally to the upside. That is RVS, guys. So if you look at this closely at these points right here, this point right here, price rallied to the upside, guys. Price rallied to the upside. In my next video, I'm going to talk about open and close level and how to find your other blocks. Okay, because in SMC we mark the whole body of a candle as the order block, but right here we don't mark the whole body as the order block. We mark a price level as the order block, guys. Now let's look out for other examples. Okay, and I'm going to teach you guys a strategy where you find resistance on your 4 hour or on your daily, you drop to your 1 hour time frame to look out for confirmation entries. Okay, now this is just for you to have a recap. You can try it on your own to see that it works. Okay, now let's look at this zone right here. This is a rejection block. It's a rejection block right here. That's a rejection block. I'm also going to explain that, but first of all, you can obviously see a resistance right here. We can see a resistance right here. And what happened? The next day candle, you know, went back at the resistance before, dropping to the downside. Let's go back to our line charts. Our line chart, you can obviously see the line charts. We had a resistance level right at this point, right? And then what happened? Going back to your candlestick charts, right at this point on our candlestick chart, we saw that the next day candle wicked out, you know, the resistance before dropping all the way to this area, right? Now look at this. You can see that I'm not framing this up. There's no way I'll be framing it up, guys. There's no way I'm framing this up. Now let's look at this particular level again. You can see this level right at that point. You can see how price wicked this area and dropped to the downside. Now this is what MSNR looks like. You don't have to make your chart look, so complicated. Your chart will always look as simple as. Okay. Now let's look at this final example. Right here, we can find or see what we can see a resistance level at this point. You can see resistance level at this point. Let's mark that and see. You can obviously see this. Good. Now what did we get? We can see that price rallied all the way back down from the resistance level, went all the way back up, couldn't break above it, and price started rallying to the downside. Okay, so in my next video I'm going to teach you guys how to trade using Malaysian support and resistance, the confirmations you need to see before entering a trade, right? See you guys in my next video.